and a strong representation of the truth. So one of the things he talked about was the effects of the African Holocaust. And unfortunately, many of our people don't understand the effect it still has on them today. And I started asking them a series of questions. I said, well, what language do you speak? Is that the language you were speaking before you came to these shores? What's the name of your God? Is that the God you prayed to before they brought you over here? What type of food you eat? Soul food, chitlins? You a gut eater? You eat pig intestines? Is that what you was eating before you came over to these shores? Then we got to start to realize just how much this Holocaust of enslavement really has affected us. He talked about Emmett Till. He talked about Malcolm X. All killed, shot down. Martin Luther King. Fred Hampton. All our great leaders killed. No justice. Right. We're looking for, in Trayvon Martin case, they're looking for, what's in Zimmerman. They arrested him, they got happy, they made an arrest. Then he posted bail. Really, that ain't justice. Right. They arrested the people that killed Emmett Till. Took him to trial, and what happened? They walk free? Huh? So we need to realize this. What was the song Billie Holiday made? Southern trees bear strange fruit. Blood on the trees, blood on the root. Right. Yeah, this is nothing new. It just started all over again. So we really need to be aware of that. Coming next, I'm going to introduce my brother, the founder and president of Knowledge for Life. Just give a hand for Brother Steve Muhammad.
Bismillah, Rahman, Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness as a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan that regardless to land, regardless to label, regardless to language, that there is but one God. And I bear witness as a follower to the prophets and sages of God, from Abraham to Moses to Jesus to Muhammad, the seal of the prophets. But I would be short if I didn't recognize our condition as a people being a condition that is similar to that was written of in the book of Moses, or that was written of when we talk about Moses, or when we talk about Joseph, or when we talk about the condition of Lazarus and the prodigal son. So I bear witness to the raising up from among us, the so-called Negro meaning dead, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and for him, as Elijah left Elisha, as Moses left Aaron, as Jesus left Peter or Paul, that he left behind for us a comforter and a guide and a warner in the person of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I would like to greet all of you in the greeting words of peace. We say them in the mother tongue, because the language that I'm speaking to you right now is the language of the oppressor. The mother tongue, we say to each other, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
And in English, and none of us are English people, we didn't come from England. In English, we say simply, peace be unto you. The assassination of the black male image. What I want to show and point out to us today is how our condition as black people is far beyond just a social issue. Our condition as a people is far beyond what politics can solve. Our condition as a people is a biblical condition. And what I want to point out to us today is how, if you were to take the stories of the Bible, which we wish that the preachers would do, because they go to seminary classes and we find it very difficult and hard to understand how they cannot go into the book, the scriptures of God, and find our condition written up in the Bible. If you're going to read the Bible, and the Bible talks about Moses and the children of Israel being under a harsh taskmaster, well, what about black people who have been here for over how many years? Over 400 years. What about the wicked taskmaster that we have been under? That we have not gotten any justice for not just one day, We haven't even got justice for 1 minute of the day. As my brother was pointing out with Brother Trayvon. So I'm going to go through the scriptures, and I'm going to show you first how what you and I read in the Bible is actually talking about you and I, black man and woman. That when you read the Bible, start to read it as though you're reading it about the history of your people, but it's a prophetic book. Which means when you read the Bible, you're not reading about what happened yesterday. You're reading about what is to take place in a future time, in a future place, with a future people. And I'm here to tell you that that future people is you and I, the black man and black woman, here in the hells of North America. Because we catching hell. Now let's start with Genesis. And I'm going to point out some of these scriptures first. And then we're going to show we're going to show what's in the thinking of those who are in leadership, who are the shadow government, actually, that is actually running things in this society. When we look first in Genesis, we look at Abraham, right? And God is putting Abraham into a deep sleep. And he's saying, know of a surety, Abraham, know of a surety, know without a doubt, that your people will go into a strange land among strange people, and that they will be inflicted for 400 years. The question I ask you, black man and black woman, is how long have you and I been here? If we take what's in the Congressional Library, it says that we were here since 1555. Well, let us subtract 2012 from 1555, and we have 457 years. Know of a surety, Abraham, that your seed is going into a strange land among strange people. Now, when we were in Africa, it was sunny all the time. But when we were brought here, right, we have 4 seasons. When we were brought here, when you go to Africa, you have in Africa some of the largest animals in Africa. So when we came here, the vegetation was different, the animals were different, the whole environment was different. So this was a strange land among strange people. And you all know as black people that white people can be strange to us. They dance funny, they talk funny, or I shouldn't say talk funny, they talk different than us. They're strange, their ways are strange to us. So let us look now to Joseph. Now check this out, when we read this, understand that this is talking about you. Joseph had a coat of many colors. Now when you think of black people, you all look around at each other right now and look at all of the hues that come out of black people. We have black people that are as dark as like purple, blue, black, to black people who look in some cases whiter than some white people. So we are the coat of many colors. Now, Joseph loved his father. As black people, even though we've been in this condition in America, we love God. Nobody can outlove God like black people. And when you look at the Sunday preachers who are on the television, you see us and we are so in love with God. And regardless to how bad we are, you know the rappers, right? They will get up in these award ceremonies and they say, I would like to first thank, right, my Lord and Savior. It don't matter if they singing about booty and bling. They still recognize God, is that right? Joseph was the prototype to Jesus. And Joseph caught hell. Listen to this. Joseph was thrown into a dried up water well. Meaning that he was robbed of the knowledge of self. Think about that. When you and I were brought here, we were robbed of our name. Right? What is your last name? Mr. Snodgrass? Mr. Underbrook? Mr. White and you black? Mr. Hamburger, lettuce and tomato on the side? I mean, your last name could be anything. We were robbed of our language. We're speaking right now in the language of the oppressor. But did you know that it's a coded language though? So when you look at the language, it subtly suggests to you that somehow because you're black, you are less than, or even you have a wicked and evil nature, right? Look at the language. I'll blackball you. I'll blackmail you. Right? When you eat a chocolate cake is called what? A devil's food cake. And a white cake is called an angel's food cake. You wear black to funerals. But over in the East, did you know that they wear white to funerals? And you wear white to weddings. So here, let's go on. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own. You and I were sold into slavery by our own. Joseph was thrown into prison because he rejected the advances of the captor's woman. And you all know, if you read that Bible, it seems like all throughout the Bible, the captors, the oppressed, are always having issues with the oppressor's woman coming on to them. And if you all do the history, you all know that many of our towns, one of the prime examples, if you all know, was Black Wall Street. And it was Black Wall Street that was burned down to the ground. And the people who tried to flee out of Black Wall Street, black people, were mowed down. It was the first time in history, brothers and sisters, that a bomb was dropped on an American city in Black Wall Street. And you know why they did that? Because of an allegation from a white woman that this black man hit on her. Pharaoh had troubling dreams that only Joseph could interpret. You see, the day Pharaoh is having troubling dreams, brothers and sisters, he knows that his country is going down. And you and I, we know the answer to why it's going down. He got some of these Republicans running, but you and I know that what they're saying is just madness. A great famine strikes Egypt and the country where Joseph was born, and a famine is striking America. Last, that Joseph recognized his brothers when they came, because it was a famine not just in Egypt, but it was a famine throughout the world. So Joseph came, his brothers, his family came to get aid from Egypt, but his brothers didn't recognize Joseph. But Joseph recognized them. Think about this, brothers and sisters. We recognize our African brothers and sisters, but they don't recognize us. Because we have been so destroyed, we don't even look like we are from Africa. Wow. We have not just in look, but I'm telling how we act, how we dress. But Joseph recognized them. But they were in trouble. They had to come to Joseph. And so it is today. We're here, and you black students, you got to understand that you have the greatest opportunity. And while you're here at these universities and colleges, that you have to take what you're learning so that you can use that to help your people come up out of this wretched condition that we are in as a people.
That's right.
That was Joseph. Look at Daniel. Daniel and his people were brought into captivity, right? Now, the king of Babylon only took the most handsome and the most intelligent. Now, you all as black people, you know, they don't teach us nothing about our own history. But did you all know that during slavery and right after slavery, that it would be an oddity for you to see a white man with a hammer in his hand? Did you all know that it was a black man who mapped out Washington, D.C.? Did you all know that it was a black man who designed the American flag? Did you all know that when you see down in the South houses built on stilts, that it was black people who designed those houses because it allows the air to go up under the house and cool the house? Did you all know that we are the inventors of the stoplight, the inventors of the iron? So many things that we've invented, but when you go to school, what do you learn about yourself as black people? Absolutely nothing. Because you couldn't be learning about yourself and be in the condition that you're in as a people, as we are in as a people. We couldn't be learning about ourselves and be gunning each other down in the street. We couldn't be learning our own history about Ida B. Wells and how she fought to stop in lynchings, about Nat Turner as he read the Bible and saw that you can't be a slave and be a Christian at the same time. All praise is due to Allah. So here it is with Daniel. They were brought into Babylon, right? And their names were changed, right? The Meshach, Shadrach, and that bad Negro, right? That's what we call Negroes. And their language was changed. So your and my language, we don't even know how to speak our own language because we were robbed of our language. But we were robbed more than just our language. When they robbed us of our name, our language, our religion, and our culture, there was a vacuum. And Professor Tway, I can't wait to hear what he's going to say. But think about this vacuum now that's created. And then think of what they put in place. They put Negro there. Did you all know that the etymological root of Negro is necro? And how many of you all know what necro means? Is there anybody who knows what necro means? Yes, sir. No, not Negro, but necro. Yes, sir. Dead. Have you all ever heard of necropolis or necromancy? Negro means dead. Now remember, when they changed Joseph's name and the other Hebrew boys, understand that a name gives you the nature and the function of a thing. So when they changed our name to black, to what we were, to Negro, they were saying to us that we are going to destroy these people, and the function of these people will be to serve us. So when you get an education, here we are at Harvard and Yale, and we're coming out of these institutions, and we just do what? Go and get a job. We go fill out an application. We also, because we get that type of education, we try to get as far away from our people because we've been whitenized or Negroized. And so when we get that education, somehow we think that we're better than the rest of our people. I'm going to speed on through this. So Daniel's and the boys, one of the things that they refused to do was they refused to eat the king's meat. And they refused to eat the king's foul drink. And you know what those meats are, that pork, huh? Even if you don't believe in the Bible, the doctor will tell you, stay off that for a little while. Notice he'll tell you to stay off it for a little while because you're paying his bills by being sick. He don't tell you, you know what, put that down. But think about it. If he's going to tell you to stay off it for a little while because you got high blood pressure, you got diabetes from eating it, then think about what would happen if you just stayed off it, period. So one of the things about Daniel and the boys is that they wouldn't eat the foul meat. They wouldn't eat They played a trick on you and I because they gave you a foul drink called malt liquor. The bottom of the barrel. And look, they even laugh at you because they gave you a 40 ounce. There's some symbolism in that number 40. But they called it 40 ounce of Old English. That's ugly, man. So here Daniel and the boys, they also, as Brother Shaka was saying, they rejected the Babylonian gods. See, none of us here, and I don't want you all to be offended, this is not trying to put down what anyone believes, but none of us here were brought here as Christians, not one. We were brought here. They robbed us of our religion and robbed us of the knowledge of our God. And if you all have ever seen Roots, you all will know that Kunta Kinte was a Muslim. So when we were brought here as either Muslims or animists. So here, they brought us here, they locked the Bible. Have you all ever been to your grandparents' house and seen a lock on the Bible? Who would lock up the Word of God? So there was a lock on the Bible, so you all know that we weren't even allowed to read or write, right? So they wanted to totally destroy any type of knowledge that would allow us some semblance of humanity. So they have reduced us to what's called chattel slavery. I mean, even some of the animals on the farm were treated better than we were. And they can't even tell our story on the film. You can't make a movie like that. It would be rated XXXXXXX. I mean, the X's would go off the screen. So here, You have a people who wouldn't bow down to Nebuchadnezzar's God, and because of that, they threw them in the fiery furnace of affliction. My brother, as he was pointing out, when you look at any black leader who rejects the white man's religion, they are always persecuted. That's the fiery furnace of affliction. When you buck the system and you be who you are, as my brothers are in African garb, they don't like that. When they hear the name Muhammad, sometimes it gets a little tinkle in the pants. Oh, here come Muhammad. Lord knows what they think when they hear the name Shaka. They might have some of that genetic memory. Shaka, is he related to the Zulus? Now I'm going to go here quick and let's look at Jesus and Mary, Lazarus, and the colt and the ass, and then I'm going to go ahead and sit down, and so we can have some questions and answers at the end. Mary, when we read about Mary in the Bible, Mary is a woman in the Bible, but actually Mary represents a whole entire nation. When you think about this. Mary was without a man. And then it says that God came in the form of a well-shaped man. Which meaning, when you read about the Bible, God is always coming, but we were taught to think of God as a spirit or a spook, right? But the devil's not a spirit or a spook. Even they're taught that. See, it's not the gospel. It's really that what they're teaching is really a ghost spell. Because they want you to believe in ghosts and goblins, and that these ghosts and goblins will come into you and they will cause you to do other than what is godly. But brothers and sisters, if the ghost or goblin came into you and made you do what was not right, then when you stood before God, you could tell God, it was the ghost and goblin that made me do it, Lord. But no, we are taught that each and every one of us is given a free will. So what is the ghost and goblin? When you're driving down the street and you turn on the radio, your car is not attached to no wires, is it? When you turn on the TV, you may have it plugged into the wall, but it's not plugged into something that's bringing a signal in. So the airwaves are what you would call the spirit. Or we'll just put it that way. So what's coming into your home and what's on your radio, think about this. You have it, it's called the tell-a-vision, right? The question is, who is telling the vision? And on the television, it's called what? Programs. The question is, what are they programming young black people to do? You turn on your radio and you can answer that question. It's programming you to disrespect the black woman. It's programming you as black men to see your brother, my black brother, as an enemy. But it never programs you like they were programming when Public Enemy was out. Public Enemy said, fight the power. You got to fight the power that be. Now, if you heard that as a white person, once again, oh shoot. So they had a COINTEL program, counterintelligence program of J. Edgar Hoover. And so I want to wrap this up by saying to you that when you look at the Bible, brothers and sisters, you can overlay what you read in the Bible literally with the history of the black man and woman. As I said, the names changed, the language changed, being brought into a strange land, being among strange people. But I can guarantee you search in your memory banks and you try to find any other people who what you read in the Bible could fit them. Nobody else, their name has been changed. Nobody else has been brought into a strange land among strange people. And even when we read about Moses, did you know that the archaeologists went out into the deserts? If you have a people wandering the deserts for 40 years, you would think that you would find some type of artifacts out there. But they have found none. And you test any Jewish scholar, and those Jews will have to bear you witness that there was never a person named Moses that brought anybody out of Egypt. That's you and I, black man and woman. So to wrap this all up, the assassination of the black male image. Pharaoh saw the children of Israel multiplying, like you and me. The reason why they were multiplying is because they were under They were under persecution. They weren't allowed to express their own individual talents, and the only avenue of pleasure that they got was in each other. So the black man was having sex with the black woman, and they were multiplying. But did you know at the same time that we were multiplying, that Pharaoh and his people, they were having trouble multiplying? They had to use test tube babies and turkey basters and all other type of things just to have a child. But you and I, we just touched a woman. She called us a week later. I'm pregnant. So they were multiplying. They were having a lot of babies. So Pharaoh said to his officials, he said, come, let us deal with them wisely. We can't just go out there and just gun them down like dogs. The whole world will see us as vicious beasts. So how are they dealing with us wisely, brothers and sisters? It says, we'll kill the male and spare the female. Always understand this. This is no joke. That when you're under oppression, the oppressor is always looking for a woman. This is why we got to respect our women as black men. The oppressor is always looking for a woman that will give birth to a soldier, who will have a magnetic attraction and will have a word in his mouth that will lift his people up. And so what I'm saying to you as I close out, that the plot has been hatched, brothers and sisters, and there is a scheme to kill the male, and it's already underway, and I'll get to it later on, inshallah. It's already underway. And so the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has been going throughout the college campuses, and he has been talking to young students such as yourself. Now, it's written of in the Bible about Jesus sending 2 of his disciples to go and unleash the colt and the ass. The ass meaning the masses of our unlearned people, but the colt meaning you young people. You young, intelligent people. The horse is one of the most intelligent animals on the planet. And that's why you don't eat horse, because it's so intelligent. So you young people, he's untying you. And as a consequence, if you all know, he rode into Jerusalem on the ass, right? But soon after that, now, on the donkey. Young lady. Okay. He rode into Jerusalem on the donkey. And soon after that, the Jews began to conspire against him for his death. We're in that period of time right now, brothers and sisters, and it don't matter if you call yourself a Christian. You can say that you're an atheist. You being black, you are a threat to the rule of white people. Just your genetics. You have a black man, a black woman, you have a black baby. You have a black man, a white woman, that's it. You have a black baby. You have a white man, you have a black woman, that's it. A black baby. The only way you're going to get a white baby is 2 white people, and that's it. So there's a number of reasons why he fears your growth. Another reason why is he fears that he is envious of your future. Your future is bright because it's written of in the Bible. So with that, I want to leave you as I came before you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum.
Brother Steve, one of the things that Brother Steve touched on was the power of the television, the power of the media, as he said, television. Now I want to challenge you right here, right now. You tell me how many positive black men are on television? 5 positive black men on TV that aren't related in the media. You can't do it. Every time you turn the TV on, it's Martin, Meet the Browns, what's the show? Tyler Perry, all these TV shows, movies show the black man acting like a buffoon. He's marginalized, he's inferior, he just can't do anything but beat up on the black woman. You see, so they even poison how we relate with each other, how we even view each other. Oftentimes when a brother meets a sister, he ain't got no job, he ain't got nothing. He probably live with his folks. Still stay with his mama. Don't even give him a chance. But if you think we're joking around, what was that movie Disney came out with? Princess and the Frog. We were so happy, we got our first black princess. But who was the love interest? Was it a brother?
No.
Who was it? Hispanic man. They even getting to our young ladies telling you, you don't want no black man. You need to start looking somewhere else. You know what a recent cover story of Assassination magazine said? They say, guess who's coming to dinner now. Y'all remember in the movie with Salon Lathan? What was it called? Something New. Come on now. They try to break up the family.